107 ArmedForces Radio, the authentic dial, streaming live from the serene and beautiful hills of Mogadishu Cantonment in the Rock City, Abuja, Nigeria. And this is your favorite program, CASIS, the campaign against suffering in silence from the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation. And of course, it is a program that deals with mental health and psychosocial support for the military, paramilitary personnel, the families, the dependents, veterans, and every other person who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And of course, the program is working in partnership with International Alert to raise awareness on mental health issues and fight related stigma, and of course to increase information on paths to psychological recovery from post-traumatic stress disorder and trauma. Of course, we all know, what has been happening around the world, especially in our dear country, Nigeria. Different issues have been going on, and people on a daily basis, especially our veterans, especially the military, who go into the front line, to try to fight to keep this territory integrity safe and sound. So they go through a lot when it comes to mental health issues, and that is why we bring to you this program every 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. to raise awareness and tell you can get the needed help. All right, I am your host, Thelma Okokun, and with me in the studio is our regular guest, Dr. Isa Hamza Isa, a clinical psychologist. It's good to have you once again, sir.
It's good to be here. Good morning.
Absolutely. All right, we have our hotlines where you can call to get help on 091 34 00 0030. Once again, 091 34 00 0030. And of course, you can email us at inquiries at harihirufoundation.org. And we are also live right now on Facebook. You can go and watch us at Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. You can drop your comments and ask your questions. Now, straight up, to the topic of the moment, which is the traumatic life of a child after the loss of a parent. In the last two sessions, we've been having, traumatic experiences of children, because a lot of people out there don't even believe that a child can actually be traumatized, or a child can go into depression and all of that. But we have been able to establish that fact. Now today we will be dealing on the traumatic life of a child after the loss of a parent. So, how can we actually identify, when a child loses a parent? We know that at times the child may really be too small, to even notice that. So is it possible, for a child to be traumatized from the loss of a parent?
Yes, good morning once again. The thing here is, when the society, or when a family lost a member, like a parent, so to speak, the concentration predominantly is on the other spouse and the elder kids, like who is going to sponsor them to school. And most of the times in our own community, you get to hear things like he's young, or she's young, and she doesn't actually know much.
She will not know.
So she won't actually feel the impact of the loss or demise of her father or mother, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Now, but the truth here is, reverses the case. They actually tend to feel it a lot more than the adults and their elder siblings, because the reason here is they can actually verbalize. They've not actually mastered the act of verbalizing their emotion, their feelings. Most of the times they role play on their emotion, and they use one or two activities to express their emotions. So our own society, our own community, most family members, if you don't actually pay attention to things like that, you won't even know if the child is going through trauma or not. And sometimes they misinterpret the concept of that trauma or that particular traumatic event with ADHD, that is
ADHD.
Yes, that is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. They feel the child in some cases You notice that the child will play a lot. The child will be jumpy. The child will be getting into a lot of fights. Those are the kind of symptoms. Sometimes you see when the child is going through that trauma. Because the thought of losing that family member will make him want to express his emotion, but in a physical form. Not in a verbal form.
Yes, not in a verbal form, okay.
As an adult, you can actually go and talk over it with your psychologist, or your friends, or your siblings, or what have you. But for a child, he has limited understanding of communication. So that is why sometimes he tends to get in physical fights or combat, or confrontation, so to speak. So, yes, children, they tend to experience a trauma after the demise of their family member, predominantly their parents, depending on how close they are.
All right. So you just mentioned, the signs to look out for, because that's very, very paramount. I was going to ask that question to look out for, because just like you said, they can't express themselves verbally, so they go into, action, in away from, being able to speak. They now go into action. Yes. So aside from that, what are the other things, parents and caregivers should do, when this child loses his mother or father or both parents to an accident, to sickness, or any other thing? What do you think caregivers around should do to help the child?
Okay, they should try as much as they can to pay attention to certain behavioral changes. Like another example here is you will notice that the child will be maybe having sleepless night. That is if they usually cuddle with the family member before the child sleeps, Yes. And
they have to start screaming from sleep.
Exactly. Or bedwetting.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Bedwetting as well. All of those are signs. Then, the inability to express his or her emotion will also make the child to compartmentalize some things in a negative way, meaning the child will actually go back into himself. Now, sometimes you see isolation. It has to do with the child's personality as well. Sometimes you see isolation. Then the role playing we're talking about, those are the things that the family members should look out for, and the community as well. Like usually, if the father, or in the case of the father, usually comes in with bobo and things like that for the child by 4 o'clock, and
no bobo,
no
daddy,
no daddy, exactly. So. But after giving the bobo, the daddy usually goes and sit and carries the remote and start pressing, changing the channel. So the absence of the dad, the absence of the bobo, he will now start role-playing, acting on that. So he will go back and sit on the chair and pick the remote. You understand? So at the end of the day, if you see signs like that, then it is obvious that the child is beginning to have some symptoms so the community, the family
acting out those characteristics.
Yes. So those are the ones, aside from being diagnosed. Then mutism as well. The child used to be chatty. He asks a lot of questions, and all of a sudden he doesn't ask questions. Now, for a child at the age of 5 and above, he will ask a lot of questions. And this is where it becomes complicated. Right? I'm taking my time to talk about this.
Absolutely.
Because it is very important.
Very, very.
Because at this stage, if you say a wrong word to the child, you lose the child forever.
Seriously? Wow.
Yes, you lose the child forever. That is, where is daddy? When is he coming back? Why is daddy not here? Why are you packing daddy's things? Why are there people here? Why is everybody wearing black clothes? There are a lot of things going through his brain that his inability to process them simultaneously will cause an act of confusion. You understand?
Absolutely.
And that confusion is also attached to an intense emotional feeling for that family member. You can see how strong that particular moment is. So what the family members are supposed to do is to pay more attention to the child and sit the child first. You know, if they can't do that because maybe they are also mourning or they are crying as of that time that they lose the family member, they should get someone who is a professional, predominantly like a grandfather or someone that the
to step into that position.
Yes, because there's what we call the spatial space, how close you are.
Spatial space.
Yes, the relationship between you and the next person. You understand?
Yeah.
So how close is he to that relative that is going to explain the demise of his father? So the first thing here is to explain it to him in a layman's term, in a positive way.
Okay.
When I say in a positive way, some people, I've seen a case of someone that the child was asking a lot of questions.
Doctor, just before you go further, on our Facebook page, we have this message from Kaiza Ukmani. Said, good morning. Please, what is the best way to tell a child that she has lost her father? Thank you, from Zuba.
Okay.
You can take it from there.
All right, then. I think the best way is for a start, to look for someone, like I said earlier, who is actually closer to the child.
Okay.
Sit the child. You can actually take the child out, if possible. You know,
buy ice cream.
Yes, buy ice
the
cream.
child likes.
Exactly. You know, create a conducive environment for the child, and tell the child, okay, you know, things happen. You know, explain it to the child in a childish but reasonable way. You know, daddy is going, you know, we just, you know, daddy, you know, we've been with dad, you know, your dad likes you, he loves you, you know, you used to spend time with him, and, but unfortunately now some of those things will have to change. You know, daddy has gone, he has traveled for a very long time, and we'll be talking about it every week, which is also very important.
Okay.
Every week, if
just
possible.
Remind the child that daddy has traveled, will be back soon.
But daddy has your interest at heart. Daddy is watching over you. Daddy knows that you're a good child. Daddy wants you to be in your best behavior. So he or the child will now know, okay, in as much as the father is not present, but the father also has his own interests at heart. So the information that he usually receives from the dad is still being passed along. So he will feel, okay, they might have spoken with the dad somewhere.
So dad is out passing the information down.
Exactly. Yeah. Before he will get to that age that he'll be able to reason
and absorb.
Yes. Okay. So by the time when he gets to that age and you are explaining it to him, you start by explaining the emotion and the impact of telling him that earlier. You can see how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
By telling him that earlier. You know, now he knows about death, he knows about, okay, if someone has died, he's not coming back, and things like that. So you look for a way to relate it to with the father.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now he has come of age. So gradually, and sometimes the community, because if you don't do it, the community, the society will do it the hard way for.
Absolutely.
You know,
in a terrible manner.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, they add more trauma to the child.
More pain.
Exactly. You know, so these are the kind of that is the approach, the approach that I believe, a layman's approach to informing the child. Or you can actually look for a professional, you know, maybe his relationship with his guidance counselor or his therapist, you know, in advanced country, they do that. They, you know, once in a while they go and they see family therapists or let's say a guidance counselor. They sit down, they discuss, and they use that particular person in a professional way and a systematic way to inform the child.
You know, doctor, that's a very, you know, a very good one, because I know a lot of people out there, especially the military, who go, you know, regularly, you know, to the battlefield to lose their lives and all of that. their children, at some point, go traumatized because they feel like my daddy, went to work and then he lost his life. So it's not good to work because if you work, you're going to die and all of that. So it's a good one, for people out there to understand the fact that children can also be traumatized from the loss of a parent and how to relay it, without causing more harm. And this one also from our Facebook page on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. Like I said, we are live on Facebook. You can go watch us, ask your questions and drop your comments. From Edet, Mary said, well done, my people. Please, I have one issue. My sister's child of 9 years after her father passed away, after telling her father is no more, she has not spoken a word till date. We have tried our best, but no way. Please help. From Eket. All right, before the doctor replies to that, like I said, the hotlines are open where you can get help. On 091 34 0030.
Okay, yes. Well, that is a clear sign of trauma.
Absolutely.
You understand?
A clear one.
Like you remember I made mention of mutism. That is now she has not seen anything.
Oh my God.
You understand?
Yes.
So it is very important. It is extremely important for her or for the parents to go and see a psychologist or a psychiatrist in the absence of a psychologist.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm talking about a psychologist here because she's going to go through a series of therapeutic sessions in a systematic way, and it has to do with the one that is more suitable for her and her own environment.
Okay.
You remember I talked about the spatial space. It shows how close her bond is with her late father. So knowing that, and if care is not taken, she will never speak again.
Like seriously, is as bad as that?
Exactly.
Oh no.
If care is not taken. That's why some people, like, let's say in the case of some of our villages, they will see it is the village people who. No, it's not the village people.
It's not the village people.
You understand? Yes, this is, we're talking about mental health here. A part of the brain has gone redundant because of.
Shut out.
Exactly. So they have to gradually activate that part, that segment of the brain.
It's
again.
really a pity. It's really a sorry.
You understand?
Yes.
So there are a lot of cases like that with psychotherapy and other forms of therapy, she eventually should be able to talk, and sometimes change of environment as well. We've been having calls, or no? Oh, sorry about that. We've been engrossed with this information we're passing out to you. And don't forget, if you just tuned in, it's 107.7 Armed Forces Radio. And as the program CASIS, a campaign against suffering in silence from the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation, working in partnership with International Alert to raise awareness on mental health issues and fight related stigma and to increase information on paths to psychological recovery from post-traumatic stress disorder and trauma. And today we have been talking on the traumatic life of a child after the loss of a parent. So you can call us right now on 080-6396-3643. For those who have been calling already, please call back 080-6396-3643. Once again, 080-6396-3643. Call us, ask your questions and drop your comments. Don't forget we are still live on Facebook right now at Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. All right, Doctor, a quick one. What are the types of childhood traumas? Well, if you're talking...
aside from the one from, loss of a parent, the one that could happen from the loss of... do we have any other types?
Well, there are... When you're talking about a trauma, you're talking about someone being exposed to an event that has the ability to alter that person's emotion. Yeah. You understand? So there are a lot of them. Okay. You understand? There are a lot of them. It could be bullying, can also lead to trauma.
Okay.
You understand?
We're having so much... Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Sarah. I'm calling from Burlington.
All right. It's good to have you, dear. Go ahead.
Yes, a quick one. I want to say that this program is very insightful You know, it's one of the six programs, the program that I really enjoy. You know, it's a program that people who have gone through mental stress. You know, you are doing a great work. Well done, we love the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah, for calling in. All right, keep listening. The number is still 08063 963643. 08063 963643. Call in, ask your questions, and drop your comments. The topic is still the traumatic life of a child after the loss of a parent.
Yes. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of things that can
Traumatize a child.
You know, and because even aside from, you know,
Yes, you know why I asked this question, Doctor, because the loss of a parent or the loss of both parents, a child can actually expose the child to so many hazards, like emotional, physical abuse, and all of that, and you know, adding even more,
yes,
to what this child is suffering.
Exactly, yes. So you see, like, if you're talking about other forms of trauma that a child, like domestic abuse, you know, and sometimes, like now in some schools, they tend to abuse some kids in the school. You understand?
Yes.
And sometimes, you know, the family, they themselves don't actually know that they are leading, or the method or strategy they are using in training the child might leave that child to become traumatized. You know, that is something very important, because if you know, if you notice in our own community, we want our child to be like this, like that. You know, we want our child to be like. So at the end of the day, the training that you are giving the child is not based on his own cognitive ability and capacity, as well as his own willpower. You understand? That's the spirit of free will.
Okay.
You get. So at the end of the day, you are forcing, in some cases, coercing the child to act in a different way. You understand?
Yes.
So that can also leave the child to become traumatized.
All right. Okay, from our Facebook page, this one from Sani Usman. He said, "Greetings, my brother is a soldier in the Northeast. We lost him, but my problem is my brother's child is 6 years when we lost my brother. Just few hours of 6 to 7, the child said, where is his father? Is her father, and we have not told her. What can we do from Taraba State?" Thank you very much.
Well, so sorry for your loss. You know, but
He said just few hours.
Yes.
The child started asking questions.
Exactly. You know, there's this. The human instinct is very strong, most especially if it has to do with a family member.
Yes.
You know, predominantly the parents. So the best strategy is like the one I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
It is important to take the child, or to look for someone that they play a lot with the child. You know, like a grandfather, or maybe an uncle that the child feels comfortable with, and take the child out, you know, discuss, talk about a lot of things. Then all of a sudden, you're asking about your dad. Yeah? Okay, I'm going to tell you something. You know, at the age of, let's say 6
to 7.
Yes, 6 to 7, the child should be able to apprehend or understand the concept of demise. You know, that is losing someone. He might have seen it in the movies, you know, or might have heard it or seen it in the. Okay, can use some examples. You know, like in you remember so what happened to so. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's
gone to rest.
He has gone to exactly. You know, he has gone to rest. So there are some things that will have to change. He's going to be absent for a very long period of time. Sometimes, depending on how versatile the child is, the child will say, "Are you trying to tell me that my daddy is dead?" You understand?
Yes.
So it shows that, yes, you've hit
the nail on the head.
Exactly.
But in a subtle way.
Yes. Yes, your daddy is no longer with us. He is dead, but his legacy through you lives on. You understand? Now that is when you start, because like I said earlier, that particular moment is very important.
All right, Dr. let's run quickly to the next question. This one says, good morning, Thelma and the doctor in the studio. Thank you very much. For me, my question is, aside the emotional trauma, are there physical traumas like sicknesses a child would exhibit after the loss of a parent? Okay.
Yes. There are other biological, there are some psychological cases.
We don't have much time.
Yes, unfortunately. There are some psychological cases that manifest in a biological form.
Okay.
That is why they will go and they will conduct a lot of tests and they'll say nothing is wrong with the child, or nothing is wrong with the person, because it is psychological. But the organs, the system is trying to alert the body or the brain that, okay, there is a problem somewhere. So it is possible, yes, that the child might be traumatized and
start having some sicknesses, coming out.
Exactly. So that is among the reasons why I say that particular period of sensitizing the child about the demise of his own family member is very important. It will determine how the body and how the child's brain is going to react to that information.
All right. Okay. Just before we wrap up, because of time, I know we're still having some calls and, messages dropping in. The topic was still the traumatic life of a child after the loss of a parent. So I said the hotline to call in to get help is 091 34 000030. Once again, 091 34 000030. You can, check the website at www.atahirofoundation.org. Email at inquiries@atahirofoundation.org. All right, let's just take this very last question. This one from Matas Oga. It says, good day. My issue is I told my son his dad became... I told my son his dad became an angel when we lost my husband, but my son keeps saying my dad is now an angel. I think I'm becoming traumatized by that word. Please help from Lagos.
Okay.
All right.
Well, a quick one.
All right.
No, the best...
A quick one, yeah.
Sorry, please. The best way to go about it is to start sensitizing the child about different types of angels. Angels with wings. You understand?
Yes.
And there are angels that are in the spirit form. Then you start talking about...
And she said she's becoming traumatized from it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So she has to...
She needs help also.
Exactly.
Okay.
She has to be able to distinguish. It's a child, you understand? So
because she has to help him first, and that is how she can heal.
She can heal from...
All right, doctor. That will be it for on today's edition. Once again, the hotline 091 34 000030. Call the numbers to get help. Don't forget CASIS, the campaign against suffering in silence, in partnership with International Alert. Thank you very much, Dr. Isa Hamza Isa, for coming on the program once again. I remain your host, Thelma Okokun. Have a lovely Friday.